So, Mr. Stallion, we've been treated to a story of you losing your virginity at 17 to an older lady in a field behind a busy pub, a horse lover who treated you like a young stallion. I know. It's the stuff dreams are made of. Oh, come on. I mean, you know I like an older lady. I mean, I'm 38 and you're 41. Yeah, that's right. 41. Well, the one thing we can be sure of is that the media are going to go full hog now to try and find out who the lucky jockey was, who we're guessing is probably in her 50s by now. Although you might find that many women come forward claiming to be the one wearing the stirrups, so to speak. Yeah, and it could become an I am Spartacus moment. But let's leave Cory Booker out of this. And I don't want any recriminations for this lady. I mean, yes, okay, she treated me like a prime cut of royal meat. She smothered him in mustard. Yeah, coarse-grained Dijon, in fact. But now, that's not the point. The point is that there were some mitigating factors. Such as? Look, first of all, that saddle would only suit someone with red hair. And second of all, no one else could be bothered to fiddle with all those manacles. Crikey. Well, we have already had some high-profile 50-somethings come out and deny being the woman in question. Yeah, I saw that Liz Hurley pled not guilty. No, I could never get that one over the line. Excuse me? Oh, everybody knows that Liz Hurley's a bit of a prude. You're never going to get her to stray into something weird or unconventional. And besides, I think she's allergic to mustard. Well, I have two questions, one for each of you. Meghan, how does this make you feel? And Harry, do you have any more sordid details you would feel comfortable sharing with us? Yeah, I couldn't care less. Well, that's not quite strictly true, because I was a little disappointed when it wasn't Liz Hurley, because that's who I drew in the sweepstake amongst the staff. Oh, I'm sorry, Meghan. I don't really know what I can do. I could give her a call, but I'm probably a bit old for her now. Indeed. Look, as far as the details go, it was a bit of slap and tickle, a bit of rolling around in the old hayfields. I was Dustin Hoffman, and she was, well, I actually haven't seen the film, so. Anne Bancroft. I brought a ghetto blaster into the field, and I put on Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison. And I remember what she said. What did she say? This song was #1 on my 16th birthday. Wow. And what happened after? Oh, no idea. Off my head on mushrooms by that point. I just remember looking up at the marmalade skies and watching the tangerine trees bend in the breeze and thinking to myself, hi-ho, silver and away. In your Netflix documentary, you made an unveiled attack against your family, particularly King Charles, when you said that you wanted to learn from the mistakes of your parents. Yeah, but isn't that the way it should be? The old ways of doing things die out and give way to, fairer, more tolerant, more equitable ideas, You can still love them. For the racist fools they are. I think it's incumbent upon every generation, to blame the one before. Every generation blames the one before. Even if their old generational frustrations come beating at your door. And all of their frustrations come beating at your door. You've got to be proud and loud, when you're presenting your truth, your truth. Whether or not previous generations believe it. Sing it loud, oh, sing it loud. Yeah, make sure you're completely precise and accurate in what you say, so people can properly understand you. Sing it clear, oh, sing it clear. Oh, will you stop? Well, just a little sing-song. I'm not quite sure what this is, so instead I'm going to ask this question from Justice Eustace, whose judgments are useless. Have Harry and Meghan noticed that by making sure not to repeat the mistakes of their parents, they're making new mistakes, some of which their parents didn't? Well, I think, for a question like that, we've got to consider many factors. First of all, racism. Secondly, whatever my Meghan thinks right now. Over to you, Meghan.
Okay, then give me one example of a mistake we've made that our parents didn't.
Just one. Your parents didn't make a 6-part documentary about themselves whilst claiming to want privacy, turning them into a worldwide laughingstock. Okay, and another?
No, I don't think you want to go down this route. And neither do I. Look, this documentary is a success. It's an objective success. I mean, it's the top of the Netflix charts.
Yeah, we don't even know if that's true.
Yeah, that's right. We're just assuming. But, we're on the front pages of all the papers in the UK and some in the US.
Yes, and you've achieved the unenviable feat of uniting nearly everyone in widespread condemnation of the docuseries. Even Whoopi Goldberg from The View took a swipe, saying that no one cares. Yes, well, I think Whoopi's let herself down with that one.
Yeah, when was the last time that Whoopi made a film?
When was the last time that Whoopi Goldberg made a documentary about the titanic struggle that she's faced with... What was the titanic struggle we faced again, Meghan?
I can't remember precisely, but that's not the point. The point is we're not going to be repeating the mistakes of our parents.
Our fathers, particularly. But I hate men.
Yeah, and those people who are complaining about our documentary are probably just jealous, Like I said, Whoopi Goldberg's last film.
The Colour of Money, probably. But not everybody likes films about pool.
No, that's The Color Purple, you idiot. The Colour of Money was Paul Newman.
Actually, I forgot about Sister Act. That was a classic. One of the more memorable revelations from your recent opening up, Harry, an opening up that's lasted for a good few years now and only seems to get angrier in its presentation, is that you were suffering from frostbite during your brother's wedding. Yeah, when I was best man for Big Willie. Frostbite all over my body. It was the worst frostbite since his famous interview with Nixon. Well, our listeners will be desperate to know how you picked it up, Harry, and on what parts of the body. Well, yeah, mainly, my hands and my feet, the ends of my limbs. They were the big things. But sometimes it's the little things that hurt more. Right, yes, we did read that you had been afflicted all over the body. Oh, plenty of places. Now, I couldn't cover them all, but I could give you a short list. Interesting choice of phrase there, Harry. But no, our imaginations have been dragged into the realms of realization way out beyond the piers of decency already.
Yeah, it's not something that I really needed to know.
And how did it come about? I was trekking in the Arctic, being a big man, intrepid explorer, ginger pioneer.
Yeah, and then hypothermia set in, and his extremities, shall we say,
turned to icicles. I remember telling Meghan about it when we were in the warmer climates of Botswana. Do you remember, Meghan? We were in the tent playing Truth or Dare, and Meghan asked me for a truth about a time when I was ever in danger. So I told her about my Arctic adventures, and she was dead impressed. Weren't you, Meghan?
Yeah, I was blown away. And I was thinking maybe he was going to talk about some emotional and mental dangers, that he was in, times that he felt like frightened and scared of his, toxic environment, by the institution that he grew up in.
Oh, right. Well, that would have been useful, something you could get your teeth stuck into in terms of manipulating his puny, emotion-ravaged brain and turning him against his family and subsequently making you rich and undeservedly famous.
Yeah, exactly. But, he went on about his Arctic trip, and I was just smiling and nodding.
Like Meghan said, she was blown away. Right. Well, frostbite has been described as a quite sinister pain, particularly in that particular area. I'm sure you'll be going to great lengths to make sure you never get that again. Well, that actually wasn't the last time I ever got frostbite in the old breadbasket. It's a very sensitive area when it's, exposed to conditions of extreme cold. Oh, right. So how and when did you get it the second time? On our wedding night. One of the most telling things about your two recent interviews, Harry, the one in the UK with Tom Bradbury and the one in the US with Anderson Cooper on the show 60 Minutes, it's about an hour long, is that you're a viciously angry person. So what was that? What did you say? Exactly, that's a perfect example. Better watch your tone, Cobalt.
I like to see Harry use a bit of fire, when it comes to defending me.
Yeah, defending my wife and family. Sure, but like we said, one of the interviews was with Tom Bradbury, who's a close personal friend of yours. I mean, it was a very softball interview, embarrassingly so. Yet, if he offered even the mildest pushback or played devil's advocate, your face seemed almost contorted with rage and you'd immediately snap back. Oh, when?
I basically, harbored his bitterness and paled his petulance, so he's like a walking whinge at this point, And everyone knows, the more you whinge, the angrier you get at everybody else who doesn't accept blame for everything that's wrong in your life.
Astutely diagnosed, Meghan. It's almost like you planned this.
Yeah, almost.
I'm like one of the Avengers. I'm a superhero, and my superpower is vitriol, okay? Whenever I'm malicious, it sends me into this like orange glow of vindictive hatred that gives me the strength of Samson.
Yeah, but ironically, Samson got stronger as his hair grew, whereas Harry grows more vitriolic as his hair thins.
Touché. But Harry, back to your performance on these interviews. I mean, it really is mind-boggling how someone's appearance can alter with the harbouring of resentment. But never underestimate the power of the dark side of the Force. Yes, Anakin, but you looked almost swollen with resentment, corrupted by indignation, augmented by animus, railroaded by rancour, contorted by acrimony. Yes, I've heard it all, and it really, really irritates me. Good, let the hate flow through you. We also read in the book Spare that he once got angry with you, Meghan.
Yeah, I wasn't having that. I walked away, sat in the bedroom, and when he came to apologize about 15 minutes later, I said, "Where did you learn that you can talk to women like that? Was it at home?"
And Harry said, yes.
Yeah, and it was at that point that I instructed him to start therapy. Yeah, and that's been great. It's been great since, yeah. He's angrier now than ever, volatile even. But at home, he's as good as gold, He doesn't throw his weight around or raise his voice or answer back. Yeah, which is a big improvement.
Well, that just shows the power of therapy, and the importance of mental health. I used to waste too much time, being happy to properly concentrate on it. No one could accuse you of that now. No, I suppose not. And if they did, I'd smash their faces in.
Brexit was an abomination. It cleaved and united peoples into two. That's not the way we're going to confront the problems of the future.
The problem is that in the past, we never confronted the problems of the future today. We have a question here from a Mr. Quinton Quintuplet, who proves difficult to pair with in a rhyming couplet. He asks you, Harry, why did you tell everybody about watching Meghan's sex scene from Suits? What? Didn't think I'd go there? Well, I went there. And was this before you'd married her? Yeah. Well, it was pretty early on, actually.
Like try before you buy.
Yeah, fittingly phrased, Meghan. Yeah, and it was a very moving scene, actually. Very elegant and tastefully done. Yeah, even when they were actually during the bedroom behaviour, it was classy. Yes, it certainly could be described as that, Harry. That is, if you were entirely ignorant of the definition of class. And I am. Although, of course, they weren't in a bedroom, were they? They were in a filing room, up against a cabinet, so to speak. Yeah, and they wanted each other so badly up until this point that they just went for it. Oh, excellent description, Harry, although not necessarily indicative of classiness, elegance, or taste.
It was a natural passion, right? That manifested itself, elegantly at its own specific level, right? Like, it wasn't diamond tiaras or, graceful waltzes. It was raw passion, which is something that's valued more in a postmodernistic interpretation.
No idea, but fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. So raw passion is a possible definition of elegance now. Get with the times, Doctor. I mean, the definition of woman now includes some people who have got male genitalia. Oh, excellent point again, Harry. But Meghan, in all seriousness, what do you say to people like Quinton Quintuplet and any of our fine listeners at home who say that a wham bam thank you ma'am with a man whose plan was to crank you up and slam 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 cannot really be considered classy or elegant or graceful in any way? I'll tell you why. Because you didn't see anything more than a little bit of belt unbuckling. And didn't she half get it off fast? I didn't even notice the first time she did it to me.
Yeah, well, it's a gift.
The master. Indeed. And what we've got to remember was that this passionate scene of elegant, yes, I'll say it, snuggles up against the filing cabinet was between two people who went on to marry each other. Yes, it's a wholesome precursor to a happily married life. Yeah, well put. Jeremy Clarkson wrote a rather unkind and indeed ungallant article suggesting that you should be paraded through the streets and subjected to a rather loathsome bombardment. Loathsome bombardment. It's a nice way of putting it.
It was literally the sickest thing I've ever read. Well, of course, I couldn't actually read it.
It affected her spiritual balance.
But I got the gist, okay? Just another example of explicit prejudice against women, But this one was even worse because he was openly and actively calling for violence against women.
And the lobbing of the unmentionable. Yes, I believe it was a nod to Game of Thrones and the fate of the evil Cersei Lannister. But I think Cersei was misunderstood. All she really needed was a few months of therapy. That's it. A few months of therapy. A few months of therapy and some drugs. That's it. That's it. Well, if we do a comparison between you and Cersei Lannister, we have, on the one hand, an immoral huckster, sharp in the art of manipulation, yet uninterested in the feelings of others. A vengeful, unforgiving megalomaniac who thinks she's far smarter than she really is. Yeah, okay, and how would you describe Cersei? Well, perhaps more importantly, Jeremy Clarkson, whether or not you agree with his right to say what he said, and whether or not you believe that comedy should be judged on slightly different terms to normal discourse, did apologise.
Yeah, I remember he in the paper issued some kind of joint apology or something, but he was never going to get away with it that easily.
Yes, so he issued another, direct and personal apology.
Yeah, but you can't just let these awful men, get away with what they're doing.
But how do you reply to those who say, isn't it better to forgive those who apologise? Yeah, but he's got to repent. Well, he says he's sorry, and we only have his word to go on as to whether he means it or not, so wouldn't it be best, for at least a moment, to take him for his word and allow reconciliation and peace to prosper?
No, actually, because you just got something wrong there.
Oh, I know what she's going to say next. I know.
At the beginning, you said we've only got his word for it, but that's not strictly true. There's this energy wave that's emitted, from near or far, through the air, which signifies to me like the overall pattern of consciousness. No, wait, maybe this is probably going over your head a little bit. Basically, he would show me, in front of my eyes, whether or not he was sorry, and he wasn't. You can see it, I wasn't even in the same room as him. I've never even been in his presence. I've never met him. But you can see it. He wasn't sorry. You can see it.
You could see it.
I could see it.
She could see it.
You couldn't see it.
I couldn't see it.
No, but she could see it.
I can see it.
You can see it.
She can see it. That's right.
I can see it.
But I can't.
See it. That's it. Now you're getting it.
Right, well I can feel us slipping into the quicksand of the Markle paradox here, so instead we'll segue nicely onto Harry dressing up as a Nazi and everyone forgiving him when he apologised.
Yeah, but that's because I meant it.
Yeah, but Harry meant it. So I was his reward. Jeremy doesn't mean it. So the end of his mainstream TV career is his punishment, And I bet you think, it's just really sad. The whole thing's a sad situation, but I'm going to be honest, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I know, it feels so good.
I just love justice.
Yeah, the only thing better than justice is drugs.
You appeared to backtrack on your implicit claims that the royal family were racist, Harry, in your most recent round of nauseating, at times absurd interviews promoting your new book, Spare.
Yeah, it's been a red-hot, non-stop tour of whinging and complaining, unmatched by any other redhead.
Indeed, you even spoke up for Susan Hussey, saying that although her comments were inappropriate, that she's not a racist.
No, she made a faux pas, no one's doubting that. But, really, she's a fine old gal, quality old lass.
Yet in concurrence with these absolving words, you've accused them of suffering from a newish term you've been bandying around, unconscious bias.
Yeah, I got bored with misinformation, so unconscious bias is my new term.
Would you mind defining it for those of us who only use real terms with unambiguous, precise meanings?
Sure. Yeah, it's like this bad thing that's in you, but you don't even know it's there. But it makes you act and behave in a way that's completely unamazing. Got it?
Crystal clear.
Yeah, perhaps I can be of service here. Unconscious bias is when we make judgments and decisions based on our own prior experiences, our own personal deep-seated patterns, our own assumptions and interpretations, and we don't know that we're doing it.
I get to live with this. Live with it. Amazing.
When we make decisions or judgments based on prior experience.
Yeah, that's right.
Horrendous, isn't it?
Yes, but is that not the very basis of decision-making? Or indeed, the basis of the conscious experience itself? I mean, I'm not going to put my hand in that fire again, because last time it got burnt.
Yeah, but
this is more about prejudices and discriminations we have, about people.
Well, okay, I'm not going to go and start a fight with that big guy again, because last time he smashed my face in. Or I shan't engage in a public battle of wits with that chap, because last time he humiliated me. Or indeed, I won't go on national television and trash those closest to me, because last time it made me a worldwide pariah.
I think that you're missing the subtle nuisances.
Nuances.
Don't be a nuisance. There are things that we do, There are ways that we behave that we don't even know that we're doing them. But they're massively prejudiced and they're seriously injuring the world.
Well, if these biases are unconscious, i.e. the person who has them doesn't know they have them, how do we know that they're there?
Excuse me?
How and by whom are they detected?
Those with the know-how.
Right, and considering you've been informing the world that the royals suffer from these unconscious biases, are we to assume that you, Harry, are one of these people in the know?
Well, I suppose so, yes, but only because I'm learning from the wonderful people around me, like my wife.
Right, so to recap, an unconscious bias is something formed by our previous experiences that we don't know we have, we're unconscious of it, but you do know we have it because you can detect it in us.
That's about the size of it.
Even the Royal Society's website has a page dedicated to unconscious bias with that exact definition. Now, luckily for me, I'm a communist. Otherwise, I'd find it as terrifying as it is bizarre.
Oh, sorry. That was the video. And if you liked it, press the like button. If you want to share it, press the share button. If you want to be notified to further videos, press the notification bell. And if you subscribe to the channel and the message, then subscribe to the channel and the message by hitting the subscribe button. Thank you.